Helldivers II stands alone in its unwavering allegiance to entertainment, a modern marvel of the multiplayer video game landscape of 2024. A game that in my opinion is an absolute shoo-in for Game of the Year. But why? What is Helldivers II and why is it spreading like, well, freedom? Well, let's sit back and mull over the absolute rise and dominance of Helldivers II. It's a co-op third-person shooter. You take on the role of a Helldiver, a soldier of Super Earth sent to various alien planets and worlds to spread freedom and democracy in an obvious riff on two main things in my opinion: Starship Troopers and ODSTs from Halo. The game leans into these aspects and is unabashedly, well, proud of its identity and inspiration. From hilarious dialogue that will play during combat about spreading freedom and drinking liberty, to awe-striking visuals that you will witness throughout each of these missions that you embark on. See, the story of Helldivers 2 is not a traditional narrative filled with characters and all that. It's an endless, seemingly cyclical war between three main factions: humanity of Super Earth, the Bugs, and the Automatons. And humanity finds itself on a two-front offensive, in an ever-ending, or never-ending, tug-of-war against these two alien factions that play completely differently to one another. Bugs rely on swarm tactics. They require from digging out of their burrows underground, or slinging bile at you to melt you down and to just eviscerate you with their sharp exoskeletal claws. Meanwhile, the automatons were made by Satan's butthole. Blades, blasters, giant robots, air support, whatnot, they will take you down and humble you expeditiously. You see, Helldivers 2 is a really simple game on the surface. There's not much to it. You go out and you do a couple of objectives, and they're rather simple. Go destroy some bug nests by throwing grenades into holes in the ground. Defeat a bile titan, a giant bug that spews bile. Duh. Or maybe it's go launch an ICBM, cause why not? That's the vibe today. Each of these objectives in the game overall is rather simple on the surface, but that is where the true genius of Helldivers 2 lies. It doesn't try to overcomplicate itself, or to try and overly streamline any single mechanic. Every decision you make, whether that is to move, sprint, crouch, go prone, fire a gun, even turn, feels weighty. It's an active choice that you have to make, including managing your ammunition and your grenade counter, because the way to close off those bug holes is by throwing a grenade or an explosive down the hole. Yeah, fire in the hole and all that. If you run out, you're gonna have to wait for a resupply stratagem to come back online to get some more. Because yeah, you have a super carrier over the planet that is willing to support you with a whole bunch of really cool stuff. Like supply drops giving you better weapons, or like these really powerful weapons that take up your third, weapon slot, like a giant machine gun, or sniper rifle, or bazooka. Everything is colorfully named or has a colorful, fun description about spreading freedom and democracy. But that alone isn't why Helldivers 2 is so successful. That is a really solid foundation upon which the rock of Helldivers 2 sits upon. Let's talk monetization. It's a $40 game. You can get a higher version, which I think is $60, with a few extra goodies in it, but really you just kind of need the $40 version, which is extremely fairly priced, especially in an age where game publishers on the whole and developers are trying to actively push $70 as an entrance fee. Helldivers 2 gets you the entire experience, pretty much, for $40. And it's seemingly riding off that apparent success that Palworld also had for being reasonably priced. But you may be asking, Jmulls, wait a minute, it's a multiplayer game in the 2020s. There clearly has to be some sort of extra monetization, or in-game shop, or battle pass. Well, there is. There's no getting around that, but at least in my experience, everything in the shop can be earned with the credits you get in-game. You don't have to buy anything. At least that's what I'm getting from this. I haven't seen anything you have to buy. I'm pretty sure you can buy each of the battle passes with in-game currency that you earn through playing the game. And that's the thing. If you want to expedite this up, sure, you can spend a few dollars if you want, but you don't have to. There's no weird zany aesthetics or cosmetics in this game that make you feel as if you're watching some weird YouTube poop. You don't see Nicki Minaj and, Alucard duking it out in the middle of a Warzone match. You don't see anything like that. The aesthetics fit the game, which breeds a sense of cohesion and visual identity for Helldivers Helldivers II and adds to the seriousness and weight of it all. Pair that right alongside really rock-solid enemy variety that increases as you unlock higher difficulty modes for each of the missions, and all of a sudden you're learning the little intricacies of each of the mobs. What mobs might be better suited for a pistol, or your main weapon, or say, oh crap, I kinda need to use my really powerful weapon right here, or I should call one in right before I start this engagement, or I ran out of ammo, how am I gonna handle it? The game works so well because it does what so many multiplayer games for the last 10 years have been petrified to do. It tries to make a trend instead of following it. And Helldivers 2 works so well and is so successful that even I, as a Halo fan, and many others are almost screaming at Microsoft and Xbox, going, how the hell has this never been done with Halo before? Legit, all you need to do is pretty much swap some models around and it would work as a Halo game, with the Helldivers being replaced by ODSTs, but I digress. Helldivers 2 feels like it was designed with passion and love. First and foremost, with a singular core gameplay design overriding any other business decision. How do we make this game fun, enjoyable, while not actively trying to screw over the consumer with monetization or cringe cosmetics added to an in-game store that just take the entire immersion and visual cohesion of the game through a paper shredder? It's fun. It doesn't need to be overly complex. It gives you a bunch of cool sandbox elements for you to learn, strategize around, and to synergize with your party members and your teammates. We haven't even touched on the co-op yet, we'll get to that. It doesn't need a bunch of high mobility bullcrap that will take you hours upon hours upon hours to learn. There's a few min-maxing things you could probably learn, especially when it comes to diving. But realistically, it's about the sandbox, about what you can do, about feeling more powerful as you level up and earn more requisitions, or just more weapons and more variety and more things, more stratagems from the ship to support you in your endeavors on the planet. It's great. This is the type of shooter that I absolutely love. Like, this is the design that made me fall in love with Halo so far back in the day. And the game is unabashedly humorous. It leans into its parody so far and so consistently and so well that it's funny. It doesn't feel like its comedy comes from watching a new Twitch stream and just echoing whatever words were said on it, or anything like that. It knows its humor and leans into it. And the game, time and time again, doesn't try and detract from what it does well. It puts you into the game quickly, lets you customize the things you need to do quickly and efficiently. The UI is pretty good, and they're able to interweave their own personality and aesthetic throughout it, with item descriptions and whatnot, talking about freedom, democracy, capitalism, and all that. The opening cinematic that plays when you start up Helldivers 2 perfectly encapsulates the feeling and just overall comedic style of Helldivers 2. But then you land on these planets and they're cool. Environmental effects, fire tornadoes, ion storms in the sky. The levels so far feel a bit flat to me, but because of what you're doing in each of these locations, they feel fun to me. The enemy variety is super good so far. I haven't even fought in the automatons that much yet, because I'm still really low level. And the one mission I tried to do on the automaton side of things, I got absolutely eviscerated during on stream, to the point that it was comedy. And that's another thing that Helldivers 2 does well. Even when you're losing, it's fun. Getting overwhelmed, just seeing the ragdoll physics happen, trying to land your new hellpod down on an enemy to kill it instantly. Why make dying boring? Why not make it fun and interesting by letting you see the bugs maybe attack each other after they kill you, or letting you control your hellpod as it continues to dive onto the planet to some degree and possibly land on another enemy to kill them. The game is full of consequence and choice from every action that you take, these small moment-to-moment decisions that you make that affect you in the near future. They can all lead up to some grand strategy. Every moment, every encounter feels cinematic and feels cool, as if you're fighting in some kind of 80s action movie. And as your character yells out, "For Super Earth!" Drink this liberty! It's not repeated too often to where it becomes annoying, but when it happens, it feels good. And the visual beauty in this game, oh my god. Like, I know I just upgraded my PC recently, so it could be part of that, but my god, the lighting effects in this game are stellar. The fog effects as well, how the game is not afraid to obscure your vision on occasion, which adds to the sense of tension and uneasiness, especially when you see the lights of the eyes of the automatons coming into play from beyond the fog, or you can see the shadows of the bugs as they swarm your teammates and all that, and you shoot, trying not to hit your own teammate but to protect them and save them. It's great. The game is not afraid to add friction, because friction, when it's used properly, adds to the experience, adds to these moments, and makes them memorable. You can fight the exact same composition of enemies, but change up where you fight them, how you fight them, what weapons you have, what teammates you have, what stratagems you have available to you, or what weather effects going on in the planet, and it changes the fight. For instance, in my last match, I was on a fire planet against the bugs. I was about to get swarmed, but a fire tornado made its way right on over where all the bugs were and helped me out. That doesn't happen all the time, and it was just sheer luck, but it creates a moment that's memorable. And that's what Helldivers 2 does in seemingly every match. There's just something cool that happens. Like on stream, when I was by myself in a mission, the game never gave me any support here, and I had to use up every respawn that I had available, but I took down a Bile Titan, my first one that I ever saw in-game, at least on my account. I mean, at least when I'm playing, not through like a TikTok clip or whatever. My first ever Bile Titan. It took me nearly all my lives, but I got him down. And the way I did it, I'm pretty sure, was with an orbital strike that ended up killing me as well. No, the Bile Titan killed me, but the orbital strike I just called in came down, raining like fires that took out the dinosaurs and wiped its butt off the face of the planet. Then I had to run all the way back to the evacuation, where I was getting swarmed because I had just upped the difficulty before going to this mission. I was largely outgunned and on demand, and I ended up dying as the evacuation came in, but I had one last respawn that had just came back in, and while all the bugs were at my body, farther away from the Pelican, I managed to land right next to the Pelican, get in, get out, and I won. I didn't plan that, but it just happened, and I was able to think on the fly and make use of the resources that the game gives me. The game is not afraid to be a power fantasy at times, and it's not afraid to be stressful and engaging in others, and seemingly every moment. You'll have these downtimes where you're allowed to just restock your ammunitions or go scouting out the place or go from point A to point B or whatnot. Do side objectives if you want. And then the game will feel like it's an unrelenting force just barreling down on you as you and your teammates try to overcome the odds. Or you trying to overcome the friendly fire from your teammates. Dude, I swear to God, my last match, I died more to my teammates. Far more than the actual bugs. But it's fine, because it's fun. It makes you think about what you're doing and doesn't allow you to think of any encounter as mindless or aimless. You have to pay attention. What are you calling in? Are there any allies there that you might affect? You have to constantly think and be engaged with the game, and that's so good. The game doesn't try and force feed you an in-game shop every 5 minutes or so. The game just tries to be a really good game, first and foremost, that's reasonably priced, has a strong cosmetic to it, or an aesthetic, and leans into that. It doesn't try to be what it's not, because what it is far more than enough. There's a reason this game is taken on like hellfire in the video games industry in 2024, because Helldivers 2 now serves as an example for the rest of the multiplayer scene that games can still be fairly priced, have a ton of content in them, and be super fun and engaging. I haven't even talked about the global war effort. Yeah, all the missions you complete contribute to an overarching war effort that every Helldiver in the world that is playing, all the players, contribute to. We're all trying to push back the bots or the bugs and whatnot, role-playing all the same because it's just fun. The propaganda posters people have made for Helldivers 2 are insanely great and comedic. Spill oil, I love that line. Bugs don't fly, keep them that way, it's great. People are leaning into the meme because it's not being force-fed down their throat. The game is unabashed in what it is, but is electing to just be fun first and foremost, instead of trying to feel like as if you're sitting in a lecture or whatever. The game is simply fun, and I don't know how else to put it. I would like to see some more level variety and just in terms of the overall landscape of things. A lot of the levels I've played seem a little bit too flat for my interest, but there's some hills, right? It's not like everything's just like a two-dimensional plane or whatnot. And maybe it's just the planets that I've been on so far. Like, it's wait and see, you know? I'm still really early on and all that, but I just want to play more. And the game's great because if you want to go for those long sessions, you can do that rather easily. And just shotgun mission after mission if that's your prerogative. Or if you only have a little bit of time, you just want to come in, do one mission, there you go. The game even gives you the ETA for how long a mission should take. Oh, this one's gonna be 15, this one's gonna be like about 40. Great, pick the one you want to do I have time for right now. It lets me schedule my own schedule all around it. That's great, I love that. The game is definitely better with co-op, don't get me wrong, but I still find it enjoyable even when I'm by myself and just pugging with random people. Because even in the middle of a mission, if the game finds you a party member, it'll just match you up. Great. Doesn't need to kick me back to some arbitrary lobby or whatever. They just spawn in. You just hear Helldiver inbound. And they come in and all of a sudden the tables are turned, or the turntables, and you have way more firepower now. It's great. A PvE multiplayer game doing this well in the year 2024 dang near brings a tear to the eye. And it's also reasonably priced and doesn't try and screw you over with monetization every 5 minutes. Helldivers 2 is the wave. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe. Have a great day. Go spread some managed democracy. Beat back those freaking bots. Rip off the legs of those bio-spewing jabronis. And I'll see you all next time. Leave a comment down below with if you've played Helldivers 2 and what your favorite moment or memory that you can recall was. Just something that was really cool that you noticed. I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and to hear your stories. And if you haven't played Helldivers 2, has it been fun to just follow the war effort? Because it has been for me up to this point. The whole saga of Malevolent Creek was amazing. I don't see this game going anywhere. Frankly, I don't want it to. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again.